Our Team Land in San Francisco site has several apps that are not displayed on the homepage, but I believe they should be. For example, if you look at our Quick Start, we have links that would be very helpful for our event planners and for other people who want to be able to contact our local businesses. We have a calendar that I added, the Bernal Hill Events Calendar, and we have the resource library that has go-to documents for the folks who are working on this particular team. Let's start. I'll begin by clicking Page on the ribbon, and I would like to check this page out. If I click Edit first, I will be allowed to edit this page because checkout isn't required on this page, but checking it out is a better practice. So let's click Checkout, and it says it is checked out and editable, which is great, but it's not yet in an edit mode. To switch to an edit mode, I'm going to choose Edit, and I'm not going to edit in SharePoint Designer. We can do that, but that's beyond the scope of this course. We're going to use the tools that are built into SharePoint to edit this page. And there is an acceptable page editor that will open up in just a moment. It's being loaded. Each SharePoint page is based on a layout. We have these new tabs that are available for us in edit mode. We saw these in the last movie, Format Text and Insert. Format Text is where we work with text, but it also allows us to change the layout of this page. These are the built-in layouts for pages in SharePoint. One column with the sidebar, two-column layout, two columns with a header, two columns with a header and footer, three columns with header, and three columns with header and footer. If you scroll down, you might notice that what we have a header here, we have two columns. If I wanted to choose a different layout, I could. If I choose a different layout when I already have content, if, for example, I chose three columns, those results are not going to be as pleasant as I might like them to be. So normally, I will be modifying the layout dramatically only when I initially create a page. After that, if I want to remove, for example, a header or a footer, I can do that. But I normally won't change the number of columns. But it's not usual to change the number of columns. Our header spans the entire width of the page. So Get Started with Your Site is living there, and ultimately this part is going to go away. We could have it go away real soon, but there's something else we want to do with it before we remove it. What I'd like to do is remove the document library here and replace it with our resource library. Let's start there. This is a web part, and I can delete this. It says you're about to permanently delete this web part. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes, I am. That permanently could freak you out a little bit. It makes it seem like that web part will not exist anywhere, but in fact it will. That web part will be available in our list of web parts and app parts. Now I have lots of space here on the right. We're going to insert an app part, and the first thing I'd like to do is include the resource library. So if I choose app part, there's my resource library, and I need to click where I would like to add it, right here, and then click Add. Looks good. Now, what else can I do with this? Well, I can edit this web part, and I will want to because I want, for example, not to include modified in the view. I really want a list of our documents and who posted them. So if I want to modify the view, we're going to go a little bit deeper into the editing yet. And on the right-hand side, I actually have the ability to choose a different view. Remember, we created these views earlier. So if I wanted, for example, to show only my docs, I could. We have a view for new documents. It says if I have made any changes to this view right now, using Edit the Current View, I'm wiping out any changes I made because I'm switching views. That's true no matter where I am in SharePoint. If I've made some adjustments to a view and have not saved them, then when I switch views, I lose the changes I made. Let's click Apply. And it's applying the new view to this web part. Now I'd like to edit this current view because I still want to remove some items even though I'm now displaying some columns I wasn't displaying previously. Remember, I don't care who it was modified by, for example. If I want to know when it was modified, we can leave that, but I don't, so I'm going to remove it and click OK, and I'm editing that view. There are some other settings here that I can modify as well, but I'm not going to. I'm simply going to say I'm done with this and click OK. That will close those properties, and notice how neatly now this resource library fits. I also want to provide access to our links list. We're going to do that right here. Insert, App Part, Links. And right after you do this, each time you'll want to make sure to return and click where you want that part to go, in the proper zone and not within an existing part. So if I want it to be below my news feed, I'll click right here and then click OK. And here's my links list. Now, again, I don't need to see the notes here. I want to modify this. So we'll edit our web part. And at any point while you're editing, it's fine to go in and say, I'd like to save this as it is and keep editing, which is nice because that means I'm not leaving the editor, but I'm not losing any changes that I might have made. Let's then go back, edit this web part. And you might wonder, well, where's that nice little panel that showed me properties? It will always appear all the way to the right, so I need to scroll to get to it. I'm going to edit this current view. I'm not going to show the notes. I'm simply going to show these columns and click OK. There we go. Now this gives me the ability to edit. If I want to make this easy to edit, I can do that, but editing's an option here, so I don't really need that either. Notice that when I applied, I came back out of edit mode. That's okay. We're just going to go back and continue editing. This page we're working on is still checked out to us. And that's not unusual, and that's why I will save frequently. Let's go back in, edit again. On the web part that we've already placed, edit the current view and simply remove that edit column. So we have just the type indicator and the URL. Okay. There's my links list. The last thing I want is to be able to show events from the calendar. And I'll want to show them as a list, not as a calendar itself. Remember, this page is open for editing still. If I go back to the page, I can still check it in or discard a checkout. I'm not currently in edit mode. I can click edit to go back to edit mode if I wish. And if I do that, then I can save this as it is and keep editing because I didn't save this page after I applied the last set of choices to the view. Normally it's saved. However, I have had occasions where it wasn't. So I want to make sure that I'm in editing mode and saving this. I'd like to go to the Bernal Hill events calendar right here. And this is another app that I added, one that connects to Outlook, a frequently used app. I work with some team sites that have multiple calendars. There might be a calendar for internal training for the team. There might be a calendar for all staff meetings, and a calendar where each person enters their vacation information so we know when people are going to be out of the office. And then calendars that communicate information about our project deadlines, where we are with clients, and so on. And this view of a whole page of a calendar, as we're used to seeing a calendar, is a great view. But calendars actually come with more than one view by default, because we don't always want to show the entire grid. So if I went to All Events view, for example, it will be a list of events. I don't have any right now. I'm going to simply add one quickly so that we have an event. And I'm doing this so that if I make modifications to a view, I'll be clear what it is that I'm getting. This is a sample event, and I'm going to move that event out to Income Tax Day, always a great day. Notice that I have some choices about categories for events. This is going to be a get-together. I can specify my own values, make it all day, make it repeating, and so on. Oh, I'm starting in April and ending in March. That really can't happen without ensuring that we have a way to manage our time travel. Here's our event right here. This looks good. This is a nice listing for this. And again, this particular view, which takes up about that much space, looks good, is called the All Events view. Now there's also a view that is current events. Current events are events that are now or in the future, not in the past, where all events would give us past events. Notice that this takes up a little more space, but it has the same columns of information in it. Useful. Let's go back to our home page. I would like to add our calendar below the links list. When we last saw this page, we were still editing it. Really, every time we leave it, it's going to drop out of edit mode. And here's our links list. I'm going to drop our events list right in under our links list. Looks like a great place to put it. Let's insert. App part. Bernal Hill Events Calendar. Make sure that you are where you want it to go, because notice as soon as I left, it's not holding my insertion point there anymore. Click Add. And the default view for the calendar looks like this. We have this entire calendar all crammed in together, and there's that sample event, so that works. But I want to quickly modify this web part. Let's go to Edit. This is my preferred method to choose a view, not to edit the current view and leave it, but actually to have a view that I know I want to use, even if I create it ahead of time, and then assign that view. And the reason that I prefer this is if I, for some reason, need to modify this, I may not remember what I had in the current view if I haven't saved it as a view. Let's apply this, and rather than having a grid, we will now have a listing. Looks good. I'm happy. I'm going to save this, and we're going to add one more set of app parts. I've saved these till the end because it is the set of app parts that are added when we say that we're working on a deadline. And those set of app parts allow us to get organized with tasks, timeline, and a calendar. Now, I don't want that set of app parts on this site. I actually want them on the SF Events Team subsite. Therefore, let's check this back in. And it's a good habit when you're checking out pages to note the changes you made. So we added app parts for Resource Library, Links, and Bernal Hill Events Calendar. Continue. It's checked back in. I like this. It looks good. It's what I want right now. Now let's go to the San Francisco Events Team site. Right here, working on a deadline, click. It says we're going to help you by adding a project summary to your home page and tasks with a timeline and calendar. So we're being offered the opportunity to click twice and add 2 apps that go together that will help us manage timelines to the home page of our site right here. Project summary, a task list that we can edit. All set. If I'm now done with this, I can remove this from our site. I'm not sure I am on the Events Team page. Let's go back to our home page of Team Landon, where I am finished with it, and I'm going to remove the Getting Started from the site. Here is our new home page with our app parts in place.